The Pittsburgh Steelers win a thriller in their season opener versus the New York Jets in an offensive explosion of a game that nobody saw coming here. The Steelers end up winning 34-32 on a game-winning Chris Boswell 60-yard field goal. Aaron Rodgers put up 4 touchdowns today in his Steelers debut. And God, as a Steelers fan, it sure feels good to win a game because of your offense. Welcome into the Steelers Talk postgame show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Don't miss a postgame reaction show here on Steelers Talk for the entirety of the 2025 NFL season. We are going to be going live for every single Steelers game this year, and then we have our postgame show right after. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button to never miss my postgame reactions to every single Steelers game here in 2025. All right, so let's start here with what happened here in this football game. Final 34-32, and Aaron Rodgers was frankly the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to keep up with Justin Fields and that Jets run game all throughout this football game here in Week 1. He was absolutely fantastic. Now, unfortunately, the Steelers did suffer some injuries here. Deshaun Elliott, the strong safety, left with a knee injury. We're still waiting on word from Mike Tomlin as I'm recording this video on his status moving forward. Joey Porter Jr. left the game as well. Brandon Echols came in and did a decent job in his stead, but you want JPJ back out there. He was dealing with a little bit of an issue during training camp as well. And then Malik Harrison left the game late with an injury as well. So we will get you guys updated on those injury statuses in our second post-game video that will be coming out later tonight here on the channel. But in the meantime here, let's get out some game balls. And the first one goes to QB1 Aaron Rodgers. Not only does he get his revenge over the New York Jets, who abandoned him this offseason. Aaron Glenn wanted to move in another direction, and we'll talk about Justin Fields, man. He was absolutely awesome today for the Jets, and it looks like he's going to have a good season for them. But Rodgers proved that he was the better quarterback today, and, I think that he was just unbelievable, man. 4 touchdowns, no picks, had a QB rating over 135. Like, this looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers to me today. Now, are we going to get that Rodgers the rest of the way? We'll see. But, maybe the Jets defense isn't all that good. But, the fact that Rodgers was able to lead you to a victory here in this style of game where you needed to put up 34 points to be able to beat your opponent, it's extremely encouraging heading into the rest of this season. And for him to get that revenge versus the New York Jets, he wanted this one bad, and he was able to deliver the goods today. Then we get to Kenneth Gainwell, and he really had the big turning point play of the game where he forced that fumble on Xavier Gipson, the kick return man for the New York Jets, on the kick return after Aaron Rodgers led his team down to a touchdown to cut it down to 2. You get that little rake there from Kenneth Gainwell, and then Rodgers puts it into the end zone right after that. So Kenneth Gainwell actually got quite a few carries today as well. He wasn't super productive. The offensive line wasn't creating a whole lot of rush lanes for him to exploit, but he gets the game ball today because of a big-time play on special teams for the black and gold. Then you continue on here with the game balls here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to go with somebody that I think has been just tarnished this entire, he's just been spat on, whatever you guys want to call it, disrespected by even people in this fan base this offseason, saying he's not a number 2 receiver, he's not a good receiver. Calvin Austin III had an awesome performance today. He drew a big penalty on the final drive of the game, putting them in field goal range. He almost got the call in another penalty on a fade route on the 3rd and 11. Rodgers trusts this guy to get open. And I'm just so glad to see Calvin Austin III play in an offense with a quarterback that can throw past his first read, because Calvin's open a lot. That was evident on his film last year, and Fields and Russ just couldn't get it to him. It was really frustrating. But Calvin today, 4 catches for 70 yards, multiple downfield shots to him, and getting a touchdown. Just a really good start to his season, and he has solidified himself as this team's wide receiver too, heading into the second week. Then, of course, you got to give it to Chris Boswell, right, man? Like, Chris Boswell hits 59 and 60-yard field goals that ended up being the difference in this football game. Made 4 total field goals and 4 total extra points. He made both of his field goals as well. So a perfect 6 for 6. This guy's the best kicker in the National Football League. Bar none. He deserves a pay raise. I know they don't negotiate contracts in season, but if they broke that rule, I think I would be okay with them doing it for Chris Boswell. And then we got to give some love here to Jalen Ramsey, who really set the tone defensively today. He didn't really have like an interception or a forced fumble or anything like that, but he decked Justin Fields at the end of the first half, and that really got the Steelers' juices flowing on defense in terms of a physicality standpoint. And then, of course, he absolutely laid out Garrett Wilson on that 4th down and 3. Really good play by Fields to step up in the pocket. He saw the collapsing defenders on him, and then he threw it out of structure to Wilson, who was open, but then the speed from Ramsey to close in on that, and then to break it up at the last second. Absolutely massive. This is why you go out and trade for a guy like Jalen Ramsey. He makes those big plays for you, but he also gets the juices going in terms of the aggressiveness and the right mentality for the Steelers defense. Incredibly lucky to have him here in Pittsburgh. So who's your MVP? Let me know down there in the comments section for today's pin question. Who was today's MVP for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think it's pretty obvious it's Aaron Rodgers, but let me know your take down there in the comments section. Maybe you go with Chris Boswell. That's a more than good answer as well. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pin question. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today. While I'm telling you about our sponsor, go down there in the comments section and let me know your Steelers MVP for Week 1. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And you and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right on those decisions on the Prize Picks app can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Week 1 is finally here, and you better believe I'll be getting my Prize Picks lineups in for Sunday Night Football tonight, as well as Monday Night Football tomorrow when the Bears play the Minnesota Vikings. And then Prize Picks is super simple to play, guys. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks also puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks also offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And a new feature from Prize Picks that I love is injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half with an injury and doesn't return, Prize Picks will not count it as a loss. Now, don't listen to me and Ponzi here, guys, because we went 0 for 3 here. We had a Darnell Washington touchdown, the less on passing yards for Justin Fields and the more on sacks for TJ Watt. Fortunately, me and Ponzi went 0 for 3 today, but if you know ball more than me and Ponzi do, you guys can make some money on our friends with our friends at Prize Picks. All you have to do is download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So now let's get into our takeaways here coming out of Week 1. My first one is what this means for the Steelers moving forward is that the Steelers can win with offense, all right? In the past, the Steelers have had to really rely on special teams, and they still had to rely on special teams today, but really they would really rely on the Steelers' defense to give up 20 or less points, and then maybe they squeak out a close one in a low-scoring affair. That's the type of game that we're used to as Steelers fans. Today, your defense looked like crap for most of this game. Gave up 32 points against the team that a lot of people think the offense is not going to be very good this year. And you were still able to come out with a victory on the road in a tough environment, put up 34 points on a defense that includes Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, 2 bona fide stars in this league. So the fact that you can win with defense, hopefully this defense plays better in the future, the fact that you can win with special teams, and the fact that you can win a shootout, all those things being options for the Steelers this year means that the Steelers can beat anybody in the National Football League in any given week. Then we get to my second takeaway, and this is obvious, but the defense has to be better moving forward, specifically up front. Okay, like plain and simply, that Jets offensive line was moving people all day long. Breece Hall had run lanes to go through all day long. Justin Fields was breaking away from sacks, opportunities, all these different things. The defense would lose in one-on-one man coverage. Like, they had trouble stopping the Jets at points in this game. Now they got the stop at the end, which is great, but they need to really do a better job as Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks come to Acrisure Stadium next week. And then it really is just the same stuff with the run defense, guys. When you go up against a team with a running quarterback, it reminded me a lot of the playoff game last year versus the Ravens. Now, obviously, you didn't have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback to lead you to a shootout victory, but it's the same thing. Justin Fields was running all over the place. Same thing with Breece Hall. They were getting 17-yard chunks against the Steelers' run defense. They got to do something differently on that schematically, because obviously something like that is to blame, because the talent is there. The talent is there up front to be a good run defense. They've just struggled to do that lately, so they got to figure out a way to make that happen. But obviously there is concern in the trenches for the Pittsburgh Steelers, not only on defense, but also on offense. I think it was less than 60 rushing yards for the Steelers today. Rodgers had to carry the offense with his arm, which it's nice to know that he's got that ability to do heading into the year, but you want to be able to win the run game. That's how Arthur Smith usually likes to play offense. And, you got to be able to win the line of scrimmage. The Steelers' offensive line did not. We'll talk about some of the reasons why that was here in just a second. But before we get into the rest of my Week 1 takeaways here, guys, click that thumbs up icon to celebrate a Week 1 victory. It certainly wasn't pretty, and it was somewhat bleak at some points during this game, but they showed their toughness in this football game, guys. And I think that, good things are ahead for this Pittsburgh Steelers team heading into Week 2 and beyond. Speaking of the offensive line trenches, Broderick Jones looks lost out there, ladies and gentlemen. And, I can't blame people for saying, hey, let's replace him. But, hey, at the same time, there's no left tackles that are starter quality available to you. I'm sure we're going to do a video at some point this week talking about the best available options, and none of them are good options. Now, unless you want to start Andrews Pete ahead of him, who's not really a tackle. They have him listed as a tackle, but he's played mostly guard in his career. He can theoretically play tackle. But, man, Broderick Jones lost quickly in this football game versus Will McDonald, versus Quinnen Williams. I mean, you're going to have to go up against good players if you want to go to the Super Bowl, man. And Broderick Jones let those two guys through way too often. He needs to play better if he wants to keep this job. Then we get to Keanu Benton. And I like Keanu Benton as a player. I think they're playing him out of position, though. They're putting him at the nose. And he is getting absolutely blasted off his spot by double teams, all right? Like, he's big, but he's not YA Black big. He's not true nose tackle big, all right? Like, he's about 300 pounds. He's strong. He's more of a disruptor, in my opinion, than somebody that can two-gap, someone that can take on double teams and not get driven backwards. And I think today you kind of saw that part of the reason that this run game is struggling is because Keanu Benton is getting his ass blocked backwards by this Jets offensive line. So I'm hoping they see that. Hopefully they start using Y.A. Black a little bit more as a nose tackle as opposed to a three technique because I think that's where he fits best, and Benton can move over to the three technique spot where he can be more disruptive. And then Roman Wilson, quiet in Week 1. I gave Calvin Austin III a game ball this week. He's the team's number 2 receiver. I've been speculating all offseason, guys, that Roman might step up into that quote-unquote number 2 receiver role because he's a better run blocker, and traditionally Arthur Smith wants his wide receivers to run block. But Calvin took more snaps than Roman did today. He got way more targets than Roman did today. It's just pretty clear that Roman is a little bit down the totem pole right now, and hopefully he can develop as the season goes on. But my final takeaway here, guys, and, I'm really happy for the Steelers we won today. I'm also really happy for Justin Fields, all right? Despite kind of the narrative surrounding me, I didn't want to bring back Justin Fields because I felt like he was just too far away in his development to bring back in a win-now season. But now that he's with the Jets, a rebuilding franchise where he can make that his own situation, he looked really good today, man, and I want to give him credit for that. 16 of 22. He made some really big-time throws on third down. He was getting the ball out much faster than I've seen him in years past. He still holds on the ball a little bit at times, but when that happens, he can get out and scramble. I thought he made good decisions today. I thought his accuracy was mostly very good today, even on the run, and he had a touchdown with no picks. All right, so he was operating that offense extremely well. Obviously, I think Rodgers played the better game today, and if they switch places, the Jets probably dominate the Steelers in this game. But because we've seen what Justin looks like in this offense, but I'm really happy for him. It seems like he's a great fit in that Jets offense, and I'm hoping that he can solidify himself as that team's franchise quarterback this year, and wish him the best of luck moving forward. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Grade today's performance from the Pittsburgh Steelers, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. I'm going to give this one a B+. All right, it's not a perfect performance by any stretch of the imagination. The defense needs to get a lot better. Mike Tomlin, Terrell Austin, and crew need to go back to the drawing board essentially here and how to stop Kenneth Walker next week in the Seattle run game. But overall, Aaron Rodgers wins in a shootout. That's extremely good news if the Steelers defense can turn things around. All right, so some final thoughts here. I think that this is a very encouraging sign for the Steelers in terms of what kind of team they can be this year. I still think there's too much talent on the Steelers defense for this to be a bad defense this year. I don't think you're giving up 32 points every single week, but the fact that you start the season with a game where you give up 32 points and you are still able, while trailing for most of this game, by the way, to get 34 points, that's pretty impressive, man. And, we just haven't seen a whole lot of 30-plus point performances from the Steelers offense over the last several seasons. And the fact that Rodgers, who's just getting started in this offense, by the way, still developing chemistry with his guys, was able to put this kind of performance together, should really put a positive spin on the Steelers heading into future weeks. I think this defense will get better. Obviously, they need to do that in order for this team to be a Super Bowl contender, and the offensive line needs to be better. There's a lot of things that need to be better. But the fact that you're still able to come away with a victory and Aaron Rodgers was able to lead you to one of those shows the kind of quarterback that he still is at this point in his NFL career. I can't wait to see him play the rest of this season. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. We're going to have a video that comes out later today. I'm going to be doing an at-home video breaking down some of the comments from Aaron Rodgers, from Mike Tomlin, some injury updates for you guys, and also some more thoughts when I get more time to collect my thoughts on this football game. So make sure you click that subscribe button and look out for that second Steelers Talk video coming out later today.